Good morning, Region 30. It's judging time. Normally we would have a judges meeting at this time where the all-wise and all-knowing region director just, fills you with everything you need to know. But this year's a little different. We are, me all the way up to Jed, we are figuring this out for the first time. So Eric Cooley was able to log in this morning and kind of showed me what it was that y'all are able to look at, because I'm not able to look at the same thing as you. So also throughout this day, if you have questions about judging, a lot of times your answer can be found by other directors that are looking at the same thing as you. I'm looking at an admin page, and so I would be guessing or going off of someone else telling me how to do that part. So post on the Band app, and then other directors, even if you don't have a question, every once in a while, check on the Band app and see if you know the answer to someone's question, because I don't have the same viewing as y'all do. So what this post on the Band app has for right now, this is all I'm including. I don't want to give too much information, because if I give too much information, I feel like there's going to be some misinformation. And whenever there's misinformation, it's really hard to backtrack with this process and level the playing field with correct information. So I'm giving you what I know to be true and just a couple things to help. So this post has the general instructions for judging. That's really mainly for those who have never judged before. It just kind of shows you how to divide up the songs and come up with a rubric and be consistent. And I'm including a raw to rank form, and you would have to print this out unless you have an ability to write on it on the computer or something. But the raw to rank form has 300 scores, and although the state isn't mandating that we stick to that, as a region, let's bring some normalcy back into the mix and do what we know to do, and that is arranging the kids on a raw to rank sheet of 300 scores, and then use that to make sure you don't duplicate scores. And then the third thing I'm giving you is this, like a worksheet to write down notes about each singer. And I put columns of each. I didn't make this sheet, but there are columns on this sheet that has notes for each song. And so you can remember always, like, we are judging each song. If a bass 2 is not good at singing that first entrance on Sleep because it's a high D and they just don't like that, that does not mean they're going to do poorly on this audition. The other 2 songs are nice in their voice. So don't just listen to that first song and give a score for that entire child, or your score might get thrown out. Also, for those who are new, there's 5 judges, and whoever scored the kid the highest, their score is dropped, and the judge who scored the kid the lowest, their score is dropped. The remaining 3 middle scores are averaged out, and this is proven to be a fair process. So typically, if 2 people thought someone was horrible, there's a chance, there's a reason for that kid's score to get dropped down. If one person thought that kid was horrible and the other 4 judges gave him first chair, that first chair doesn't deserve to get dropped down because of that 5th judge. So that's just kind of how that system evens everything out, and it takes pressure off of you, making sure that you come up with the right score. Okay, so there's some notes about, and I'm going to put these on the Band app post as well, but things that are new to this audition to consider as you judge. Now you can re-listen to recordings. Normally, the first girl of the day, it's hard to give her first chair because you have to remember that audition all day long and keep fighting for that first chair decision that you made, which isn't necessarily fair, but it is fair because of the 5 judge rule, and we average out the 3 scores. So it will even out, but so this being able to re-listen to recordings can be a good. It also can be bad. It can make things more complicated for you. You may have noticed that students were fine submitting their first submission, and they said, how was it? And then we would give a comment about it. And then when they tried to re-listen to it and re-record it, on the second try, they would spend 10 hours stressing, losing sleep. They couldn't get over the details. And really, their first one was fine. I was just giving them a critique. The same thing will happen to you if you get stuck in the loop of re-listening and re-listening and re-listening and, oh no, but beat 3 on this one, and oh no. It will work out if you trust the 5-judge system with averaging out the 3 in the middle. Do not put the pressure of the world on you to give this kid the correct chair based off of, oh, but her tone was a little fuzzy on beat 3. Let me re-listen to that again. You're gonna drive yourself mad. Your gut, a lot of times, can help, okay? The only time I would say re-listen is if you genuinely can't remember a singer's voice. If you're on singer number 72 and you gave someone third chair, on the first recording you heard, and you legitimately cannot remember what that kid sounds like, give it a re-listen. But do not hyper-analyze recordings, or you're gonna be upset, and it honestly might skew scores. So there is also something new. There is nothing to prevent you any longer from not hearing an entire audition. This makes me very uncomfortable. I wish there was a way that didn't let you start and stop a recording. I wish you had to start the recording and let it play out before you could exit the screen. Be fair, be just and true with this, because there are a lot of sopranos that are fabulous singers who do not sound good on this first cut, but who are doing their best and they're amazing on the other 2. So if you're judging a soprano 1 based off of how well they sing on the last 8 quarter notes below their on the bottom end of the treble clef, and then you're disregarding how great they are and You Do Not Walk Alone and the high A on Riding the Chariot, you're doing them a great disservice. And there's a chance your score will get thrown out if you're judging a soprano 1 based off of how well they sing those super low quarter notes on sleep. I know you're gonna get tired of judging, we always do, but give the kids a fair audition, listen all the way through. This is not a TMEA honor choir recording submission committee where you hear an out of tune chord right on the downbeat and you get to just move on to the next recording if you want. That is not this. You don't determine someone's rank based off of your first glance opinion of someone's audition. You must listen to the entire thing. So use the student rank sheet to guide all 3 of those songs. And then you'll know we might notice if you do skip students' auditions, because your scores will probably get thrown out. There are variances in recording quality. This is another thing that's new to consider. So please resist the urge to dislike an audition because of the overall murkiness of a recording. You've got to really, really listen and think like, this kid doesn't sound like a robot. That's kind of extreme. This kid doesn't sound far away. In real life, I don't know. There's kids that are literally recording on like Samsung Galaxy Note 2s, and then there's kids that are recording on new devices with people that were editing and mixing, people that were, balancing the mic and the speaker form with the volume slider. People who had help, and there's kids who haven't stepped foot into a choir room yet this year, and they've been using a Wi-Fi router that the school gave them, and they've got one device at home, and they share a bedroom with 3 kids. Audio quality is going to vary. Please don't judge a student's submission based purely based off of the audio recording. It's not their fault. There are great voices that are too close to the mic. If a soprano sings a high A and she's too close to a mic, the sound will crack up there. She's not over singing if she's just too close to a mic and she's a remote learner and she didn't know. Use your best judgment with that and go a level under your initial reaction to hearing poor quality. You can go back and change scores. This can be a good thing and a bad thing. But again, don't obsess over editing everything over and over again and re-listening and re-editing. You're going to get yourself frustrated. There will be recordings where the piano is faint. If you hear the piano in the background, then it is a valid recording. We're not judging based off of there's balance between the singer and the piano recording. All that's required is the pianist in the background. Okay, so those are just some new things to consider. I'm going to move on to just some general judging things. 12 students will advance. Just 12 students will advance. There were a couple rounds last year because we changed the rule book a bunch, and there was a round where we printed scores and the scores had the wrong chair amount on there. But there will be 12 students that advance, 2 will be alternates, and I do not know how the alternates will work, but alternates will be invited to the next round of auditions as alternates, and then they will move in. But I don't know how that works. So keep in mind as you judge, keep that line. Okay, so far everyone's in. Okay, so far 12 people are in and 1 person's out. Okay, so far 20 people are in and 24 people aren't. This is where my line is. I don't need to see your raw to rank sheet when you're done. I could say like scan it in and email it to me, but there's always going to be 10, 15 people that don't do it. I'm going to be hunting it down for no reason. So just when you're done with your raw to rank sheet, you're done with your raw to rank sheet. I do not need your singers' notes. You will know right away if you duplicated scores. So we're not going to be referring to you later. We're not going to find out on Monday that someone duplicated a score. You'll know if you duplicated a score through the website. Do not clump students around the same scores. So the most popular column is the second to the left column. And for most people, for some people, it's that middle column. But that second to left column is like, oh, they did good, they're musical, but they're not like all staters. All staters are all the way over in that left column a lot of times. If you clump everyone too close together, then at some point when you have 70 auditionees, you're going to be, with all these kids that are the same audition, you're going to be forced with giving a kid either 4th chair or 50th chair. And so we don't want to clump together. Give yourself lots of space. Guest judges, there is a link in this post where you can put your address and we will send you payment. So from here, I'm just going to let y'all play with it, figure it out. Again, if you have questions specifically about what you're looking at in the portal, post it on the Band app. And if you notice a question that someone has the answer to, then post a comment with the response. From here on out, this weekend, it's going to be heavily director supported and driven. This has to be like an ecosystem because I do not have answers. Jed does not have answers. And I hate giving answers too soon and then they're wrong. And so just, you guys are in the program and I am not. So I'm going to have my phone with me. I'm driving to Boerne, Texas right now, cause my brother's gonna have a baby. But I'm still totally immersed in this. I bring a Wi-Fi hotspot in the car and I'm just going to be working. So give me a call if you need something, and y'all have a great time judging. Bye.